All right, let me adjust myself. Okay, we're actually going to start on our backs today. So go ahead and lie down, feet pressed against the ground, knees pointed upward towards the ceiling. The ceilings. Multiple ceilings. There's only one. And just breathe here. Okay, on your next inhale, we're going to extend the legs and the arms into a big S shape on the ground. Curl the knees, bending them, pulling them into the chest, and lifting the head upwards to the next spine so that we're meeting forehead to knees. And then we'll inhale. Again. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Going in. Down to those. You just move at your own pace. Really reaching along through the fingertips and through the tips of the toes. And even engaging the abs as you come into the curly shape and exhale. In this curled shape, so we're going to take the abs to lift the head upwards towards the knees, towards the side, towards the two. And then we'll release by rolling either. So if you're using a mat or a blanket, you might have rolled off of it, so adjust yourself as you need. And then this child's pose, breathe the thighs together so that your chest is resting on top of your thighs. or separating the knees but keeping the toes together so that your chest reaches more towards, whichever you want to start with. Find a good pattern of breath here. Whichever child pose you decided to be in, let's come to one where we're pressing our thighs together and the chest is resting on top of the thighs. And here we'll just tuck the toes under so that our little is flat. So hips are still reaching back and down towards the heels. Let's go ahead and extend the arms and the fingers ahead. Breathing here. We will bring our arms in a little bit closer. So we're going to think about the forearms being on the ground, the elbows being underneath the shoulders. So we're in this sort of tight, little curled up shape here. We'll keep the toes tucked, keeping the palms and the forearms on the ground, and send the hips upward so that we find ourselves in a little dolphin pose. So the forearms are still on the ground. Feel free to pedal in the feet here. Feel free to have as much bend in the knees as you'd like. And let's lower the knees back down to the ground, coming to a tabletop position. So lifting the forearms so that we're on the palms of the hands only now. Keeping the toes tucked, we'll send the hips upwards and back for downward dog. And just breathing in this place. Again, feeling free to pedal the feet, bend the knees as generously as you need. On an inhale, look towards your palms, and as you exhale, walk the feet forward to find yourself in a forward fold. Bending the knees if you need, if you're not ready for that deeper, fuller hamstring stretch yet. Keep breathing here. Okay, let's plant the hands, the palms on the ground. We're going to send the right foot backwards so that we're in a lunge. We're going to stay in our high lunge here for a couple of breaths. Seeing if you can extend the spine, keeping it long, thinking about a long line from that back heel to that right heel, all the way through that leg, through the hip, through the spine, into the top of the head. On your next exhale, go ahead and send the left leg back to meet the right. So we're in a plank position here. We'll hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, lower down by bending the elbows, finding ourselves on our chest. And we'll just adjust ourselves to come into a Sphinx pose here. So similar arms as our dolphin. We're thinking about the elbows underneath the shoulders. Forearms and palms are on the ground. We're continuing to reach through the spine so that there's a lot of space between the ears and the shoulders. Just gently here, moving with the breath, we'll take an inhale and look towards the right. And exhale, rotating the neck so that you're looking ahead of yourself again. And then we'll take an inhale and look towards the left. And exhale, rotating the head, the neck to look ahead. We'll do a couple more of those, moving in your own breath and your own time. Do one more set, right and left. And then let's press into those palms and forearms to send the hips backwards, tuck the toes, find our downward dog. Keep breathing here, pressing deep into those palms to find a lot of length through the arms into the shoulder blades. Take an inhale and look forward at your palms, and on your exhale, step or hop forward so that you find yourself in a forward fold. Breathing here. Bend the knees to start rolling up through the spine to come to standing. Take an inhale, lifting the arms up overhead. As you exhale, let the arms float down. We're going to find that forward fold again. And this time we'll send the left foot back for a high lunge. So same idea. We're thinking about a lot of length through the spine. Breathing in that higher lunge here. And let's send the right leg back to meet the left in plank. We'll hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take an inhale, and as you exhale, bend the elbows to lower the chest down. This time we'll go through either an upward dog or a baby cobra, whichever feels best for you right now. And as you exhale, we will tuck the toes, send the hips upwards and backwards for downward dog. And you're going to hang out there, Continuing to breathe. I'm going to just adjust the camera. And take an inhale, look at the palms. On your exhale, step or walk those feet forward to find the forward fold. Keep breathing here. And then we'll bend the knees to roll up through the spine. Until we are all the way upright. We're just going to hang out in this mountain pose for a couple of breaths. So take a time to really feel your feet grounding and connecting with the ground. Maybe spread the toes. Maybe rock forwards and backwards from the balls of your feet into the heels. Maybe even shift from the outside of the edges of the foot to the inside edges. Just making sure that you find your most stable, most supportive stance here. All right, we're going to take an inhale and circle the arms backwards, reaching through the fingertips. They're coming up and overhead, and once they get overhead, we're going to bend the knees, take an exhale, and curve the spine until we are folded forward with those bent knees. So not a full forward fold, just a little curve in the spine. And as we inhale, we'll straighten the knees, keep circling those hands and those arms backwards so that we find that same circular movement. The arms keep floating up, 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 up until they're overhead. And once they're there, you'll exhale, bend the knees, curve the spine. And we'll do one more of those. We're inhaling, straightening the knees and bringing the arms backwards to come up. And then we will exhale, bend the knees, curve the spine forward. And from this little curve here, we'll keep the knees bent. Think about sending the hips really far backwards. We'll straighten the spine so that it's no longer curved, but it's a straight line. Oh, look at that. We're in chair pose. Take an inhale, sweep the arms up, forward and up. Keep breathing here. We're going to hold this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll release that to find the forward fold. Your next inhale, lifting the back halfway, flat back. And exhale, find your forward fold. Take an inhale as you plant your palms onto the ground. Exhale, send both legs back so that we're in plank. Take an inhale in plank. And then we'll exhale, bending the elbows, lowering the chest and the body, front body. And your inhale, up dog or cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes and the hips up and back for downward dog. On your next inhale, we're just going to gently lift that right leg. And as you exhale, we'll bend the knee, tuck it close to the chest, and send the weight forward so that the right knee is meeting the right elbow. And then we're going to inhale, come back to that three-legged dog, so extending that right leg back. Exhale, bending the knee into the chest, shifting the weight forward. We'll do one more of those. Inhale, send the leg back. Exhale, knee to chest and then to the elbow. This time we will plant that right foot down. Let's go ahead and lower the back knee and untuck those toes. Again, we're thinking about lengthening our spine here. We'll take an inhale and swoop those arms up overhead. And if you are able to do so, feel free to bend backwards just a little bit of a high arch in the upper spine. And keep breathing, even if you're not in that arch and you're just completely upright. Taking some breaths in this shape. On your next exhale, we'll release those hands back to the mat. Tuck the toes of the back knee, or the back leg, and lift the back knee up. We'll send that right leg back to that round plank again. Take an inhale. As you exhale, bend the elbows, lower down. Chaturanga. Inhale. Up dog or cobra. Exhale, tuck the toes, find the downward dog. And we'll do that same little flow this time with the left leg. So we'll take an inhale with the left leg up. Exhale, tucking the knee towards that left elbow. Inhale, left leg up. Exhale, tucking and shifting. One more of those. And after you've done that, exhale, plant the left foot, lower the right knee, untuck those toes. Think about your long spine. And on your inhale, swoop the arms up overhead. And continuing to breathe here, maybe finding an arch in the upper spine if you'd like. On your next exhale, releasing those hands back to the mat, tucking the toes of the back leg to lift the back knee. Again, we'll send the front leg back to plank and then shift the hips upwards and backwards so that we are in downward dog yet again. Taking some deep breaths here. Checking in with the neck. So as you're in this shape, maybe nodding the head yes, or rotating it like you're saying no. Maybe even drawing some circles with the tip of the nose. And then let's bend the knees and lower them to the mat. And we'll have just a minute in tabletop here. And we'll do a little bit of movement through the spine. So let's tilt the head towards the left, thinking about the left hips and the head sort of meeting each other. And then coming back to our neutral. And then tilting the head towards the right, thinking about the right hip meeting the head. And coming back to center. Moving with the breath, let's take an inhale as we tilt our head towards the left, meeting the left hip. And exhale, coming to the neutral. Take an inhale as you tilt the head towards the right. And exhale. Just do one more set of those in your own time with your own breath. And then let's sit back into child's pose again. We're going to go into, in just a minute, a pretty intense flow. So taking a couple of breaths here before we really get into some quicker movement for strength and balance. Your next exhale, we're going to press ourselves back into a tabletop position. And we're going to just extend the right leg behind us so it can stay connected to the ground. We're pushing through the palms so that our shoulder blades are lifted and we're not sinking. And we're going to rotate our body towards the right side. So the right leg is back. We're going to use our hands to sort of walk ourselves so that the right leg is now to the side and the left knee has rotated so that it's facing forward. And then we're going to adjust, so bring that left arm over towards the left side so that we can reach the right fingertips towards the left and find a stretch in the right side body here. So thinking about opposition from the right fingertips to the right foot, the long line there. We're breathing here. We're trying not to sink into the left shoulder, keeping it long and lifted. We're going to keep rotating towards the right. So go ahead and pretend like you're drawing a circle or an arch with the right fingertips. They're going to point towards the floor and then circle towards the right foot. That left knee and the hips are going to continue to rotate so that the right leg is now in front of us. And we're going to send the hips backwards for a hamstring stretch here. So adjusting the hands wherever they need to be. It might feel good to bring the hands a little bit backwards so that they're right at the same positioning as the left knee. And then feeling free to flex the front to right foot. And then we'll walk the hands forward, walk the weight forward to find ourselves in a lunge with the right foot in front, lifting that back knee up. We're going to rotate that back leg so that we find the toes pointing out in about a 45-degree angle. That back knee is straight. We're going to take an inhale and cartwheel the hands up, keeping the front legs bent, finding ourselves in warrior two. One. Take some breaths here. On your next exhale, lower that back arm down so that it meets the back leg and keep lifting the front arm up and overhead so we're in peaceful warrior. And on your next exhale, returning to warrior two. Keep breathing here. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, bring the right forearm to the right knee so that we're bringing that left
hand up towards the ceiling. And we'll take a stretch here. You can feel free to let the right hand go to the ground if you are able or want a deeper stretch, which should enable your left hand to reach forward into the space a bit. And if you want to go for a bind here, you can let the right side body rest on that right thigh. Take the weight off of the right hand and tuck it underneath. So we're taking the forearm underneath that right thigh. And then that left arm that's up in the air will bend that elbow so that the fingertips come to the right fingertips. I'm going to just rotate my position so that those of you on screen can see what's happening behind my back here. Keep breathing. On your next exhale, we can release that bind if you were there with me. And then we'll place both of the palms on the ground and rotate that back leg so that the toes are facing the same direction. So both the left foot and the right foot facing ahead of you, and we're in this very wide triangle. Go ahead and bring that back leg in just a little bit so that the heel is on the ground. And we'll hang out in this triangle pose for a sec. Keep breathing. From here, let's go ahead and bend that front knee. So we're still with the right foot, the right leg in the front. Bend that, move the hands forward just a little bit so that our weight can be on our front leg and the palms as we lift the back leg up to find a warrior three. We're going to flex the left ankle so that the toes are pointing towards the mat, heel is pointing towards the ceiling. And then depending on how familiar you are with warrior three, you can choose to lift yourself up onto your fingertips to find a bit of a balance there. You might even be able to lift both of the hands off of the ground, either reaching them behind yourself towards that back leg or in front of your head. This is a really hard one. We're just going to hold it for one more breath here. And then let's bend both knees, tucking that left knee into the chest before it meets the ground, before the foot meets the ground. And we'll hang out in a forward fold here. Wowza, that was a lot. Let's go ahead and bend the knees and roll up through the spine. And once you're standing upright, take an inhale, lift the arms up overhead. As you exhale, bring the palms together in front of the chest. And we'll just breathe here for a little while before we do all of that on the other side. All right, bending the knees. Send the hips backwards. Keeping the spine long and lifted. We'll find our chair pose. We'll inhale those arms forward and up, holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Releasing to find a forward fold. Oh, yeah. Let's take an inhale and find flat back. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, plant the hands on the ground. As you exhale, send both feet back to plank. Inhaling here before you exhale and lower. Inhale to find up dog. Exhale, tuck the toes, bend the hips backwards into downward dog. On your next exhale, bend the knees to lower them down to the ground and find yourself in tabletop position, adjusting the hands whenever you need. And we'll do that same flow to the left side. So we'll extend the left leg back behind ourselves. We'll use the hands to walk towards our left side, so opening up. That knee is going to rotate so that it is also facing the front. Then we'll adjust that right hand to the right side a little bit to then reach the left arm up overhead and over towards the right side. Thinking about the side stretch and a lot of length and space from those left fingertips through the left side body to the left foot. Trying not to collapse in the right shoulder, but feeling the energy pressing up through the palms into the wrists, forearms, elbow, upper arms, and shoulder. And then drawing a little arc with the left fingertips. They're going to go down towards the ground. And keep circling towards the left. Keep rotating that knee and the hips and the upper body until that left leg is in front. And then we'll send the hips backwards, extending that front leg for a hamstring stretch, flexing the front foot, the left foot if you'd like. And then moving forward into that left foot, so bending the left knee, placing the palms on either side of that foot, tucking the right toes to lift the right heel up. We will rotate that right leg so that the toes are facing out at a 45-degree angle. On your next inhale, we'll cartwheel those hands up to find ourselves in Warrior Two. Take a couple of breaths here. On your next exhale, we'll lower that back arm towards the back leg. Reach the front arm up towards the ceiling to find peaceful warrior. Breathing here. On your next exhale, coming back into Warrior Two. Keeping that front leg bent, we'll bring the left forearm to that left thigh and reach the right arm towards the ceiling. If you want to go for a deeper stretch, we'll place that left hand on the ground and let those right fingertips keep reaching forward. And if you want to go for even more of a stretch or stable bind here, letting the left side of the body rest on the left thigh, taking the weight out of the left hand to wrap it underneath and behind the left thigh, bending the right elbow so that our left fingers find our right fingers. And whatever you've chosen to do here, we'll release it. Bringing both palms to the mat, rotating that back leg so that both the right toes and the left toes are facing ahead of us. Let's bring that back leg in a little bit so that the heel is connected to the ground and we're in a forward fold triangle shape. And from here, we'll bend the front knee so that our weight comes forward onto that left foot, bringing the palms forward as well so that we find our balance on the left foot and the palms to lift the right leg up into our warrior three. Flex the right ankle. Think about the toes pointing towards the ground and the heel pointing towards the ceiling. And think about that lifted back. Again, multiple options for the hands here. They can stay connected to the ground. They can reach behind you towards that leg, the foot that's lifted, or they can reach in front of you. Breathing here. A few more breaths. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's bend both of those knees, tucking that right knee into the chest before the right foot finds the ground. And we're in a forward fold here. Oh my gosh. And let's roll up your spine to come to standing. Oh, and once you're all the way up, we're just going to take a little walk around. Keep breathing. Keep moving. Just little steps. You can take a little journey just around the edges of your mat. Or if you're in a room, you can walk around the room. I mean, of course, you're in a room. Everyone's always in a room, unless you're outside, I guess. But taking a couple of steps, taking a drink of water if you need. We're going to go into some balancing shapes before we cool down and finish the class. I'm just going to check the time. All right, let's come back to the mat if you're using one, or the video, wherever you need to be. Okay, we'll take an inhale. Bring the arms overhead. Take an exhale, bring the palms together in front of the chest. Let's look down at the feet. Make sure that they're giving us a lot of support. So again, we'll wiggle the toe a little bit, maybe even rock forwards and backwards, or from the outside of the feet, the foot edges to the inside. Find that strong base. Both toes are pointing forward. So we're just going to gently shift our weight towards the left as we lift the right leg up. We'll bend that knee and hug it into the chest. And then we'll rotate at the hip so that the leg opens up, the knee is pointing towards the right side, and we'll bring the sole of that right foot to the left thigh for tree pose. If that's a little high for you, feel free to lower it down to the shin. And we'll just take a couple of breaths here. Arms can be in any shape that you'd like. Some options are prayer in front of your chest, up over your head, or prayer behind your chest, behind your back, whatever feels good for you. Keep breathing here, thinking about lifting up and away from the ground. Crown of the head is reaching towards the ceiling. And we'll just retrograde ourselves out of this shape. So let's rotate the hip so that the knee is facing forward again, tucking it into the chest, and then releasing it and shake out that standing leg. Then put that standing left leg back on the ground. We're going to bend the knee and think about going in the opposite direction this time. So the foot is going towards the hip, the butt. And we'll just grab the ankle or the foot or the shin, whatever you have access to here. We'll hold on to that foot with the right hand, so right foot and right hand, and we'll lift the left arm up overhead. And we'll just keep breathing here, or if you'd like to challenge yourself to go into dancer pose, we'll let the chest reach forward and out on that upper diagonal, bringing the back leg up with it. It's really hard to talk and get into that shape. So we're either holding here or here, whichever is best for you. Whatever you're doing, you're breathing. And on your next exhale, we'll release that, bringing the right foot back to the ground and shaking out that left foot. Maybe even rolling in the ankle. There's a lot of work on that little leg. All right, let's find our feet, both of them underneath our hips. Again, standing upright. Take an inhale, lift the arms up. Exhale, find your prayer. Thinking about the feet becoming a wide base for us to stand upon. And we'll shift our weight over onto the right leg, bending the left knee, hugging it into the chest, then rotating at the hip so that knee is pointing towards the side, and then finding that right sole of the foot onto the, sorry, I'm in the wrong side, left sole of the foot into the right leg, and then placing the arms wherever you'd like for this balance. Lifting up really tall. Keep breathing. Let's get ourselves out of that. So we will rotate at the hips so the knee is again facing forward, tucking it to the chest, and then releasing it to the ground, shaking out that standing right leg. Keep breathing. We're almost done with these balances. We'll start again with both feet on the ground. This time we will shift our weight again onto the right, bending the left knee, this time sending the foot backwards, thinking about the heel towards the left butt cheek. Holding on to that left foot with the left hand, and take an inhale as you reach the right hand up towards the ceiling, finding the length. You're really tall. And if you want to go into a dancer pose, lifting and reaching the chest upwards and forwards on the diagonal. Letting that back leg lift up as well. One more breath wherever you are. And release that left leg. Let's lift that right leg up, shake it out. Make some circles with the ankle. We're almost finished with our practice here. I am again going to adjust my camera so that we can get back onto the ground. Okay, so let's actually get to the ground by going into a squat. So we'll start with the feet directly underneath the hips, and then we'll heel toe until the heels are actually directly underneath the hips with the toes facing outward a little bit. And then we'll bend the knees, bring the hands forward, and then let the hips sink down, pressing the palms together and the elbows into the legs so that they're opening in the hip socket here. And we'll let that go, so let the hips continue to sink, finding the mat. And we're just going to take a couple of seconds to massage with our hands, our little ankles. That was a lot of work, those balances. So we'll just give a little bit of living pressure into the ankles and into the arches of the feet. Okay, and making sure that you get both sides. So if you just did one side just now, I'll try to give you the same amount of time to massage the other side. Okay, so let's bring our feet in front of us. So we're sitting on the sits bones, the knees are bent, the soles of the feet are touching the ground. And we'll just sit upright, long spine for a second. You can clasp the hands in front of the shins if you'd like to help stabilize your seated position here. Keep breathing. And if you clasp your hands in front of your shins, we're going to release that and we'll slowly roll down onto the spine, one vertebra at a time. And then one last time, we'll tuck those knees into the chest, hugging them in tightly, wrapping the arms around the shins, maybe even rocking gently from side to side. Maybe you want to take another circle of the ankles here.
And let's extend those knees and lift the feet up towards the ceiling. And maybe even shaking out the legs to make shape. So lots of options here. You can think about rotating in the hips and feeling the muscles of the skin sort of rotate on the bones, around the bones, or you can shake the feet, causing a lot of jiggle throughout the leg. And then we'll let the knees bend, let the soles of the feet find the mat or the ground. And then let's extend the knees, look away. You're going to settle into our Savasana here. So checking in with the breath. Letting your breathing turn or lull you into a relaxed state. And gently start to bring yourself up and shift out of Shavasana. Whatever you need to do. And just open yourself up a bit. Gently, carefully, slowly shift your way into a seated position. All right, we'll take an inhale together, and on the exhale, give a little inhaling. Thank you for coming to class. See you next time.